Hello, this is a speed paint video, just done in Procreate of a drawing that I did what feels like an eternity ago. It is something that I did back in almost a year ago in February of 2022, but I had the idea for even longer than that. It's the Forest Queen from campaign Skyjacks / the Decemberist / the Element Luminary cards. And even if you haven't listened to or heard of Skyjacks or the Hazards of Love album from the Decemberists, I feel like the name The Forest Queen is kind of self-explanatory. And I tried to make her look sort of powerful and intimidating. Like she's looming over you and looking down on you, and I think I succeeded. I hope I succeeded. I did a lot of sketches, as you can see. I did one in my sketchbook first, just sort of like a really quick one when I had the idea first, and then many moons went by, and then I finally transferred it into Procreate. I had to look up a lot of references for the animals I used, and I did a lot of planning of like where the sort of quadrants would be, and the lighting and the value hierarchy, so it wouldn't look too busy because there is a lot going on. So I tried to make the Forest Queen the primary thing, and then the animals the secondary thing, and then the forest sort of hopefully fading in the background. Going into it, I wanted to make it as symmetrical as possible, specifically for the Forest Queen herself, since she's known for like order and control, and not having a leaf out of place. But since all of the 4 seasons are represented, it's not all symmetrical and perfect, but I tried to make especially like the trees in the foreground that are sort of framing her and the animals as symmetrical as possible. One thing I did think about is making the Forest Queen's eyes pure white, so that it would be an inversion of the changelings in the background, which have a like white scales or fur or feathers, and then their black eyes like Travis does in the campaign, and then sort of making them an inversion of her, almost like she color coordinated them to be like her backup dancers. Which I think is kind of fitting for her. But I do want to emphasize that I did make this in February of 2022, so this is very much before any visual description or representation of the Forest Queen in campaign Skyjacks. There is the Illimat Luminary card that I did base this off of, particularly her face looking right at you and her kind of looking down at you, and the flowing black hair is very much something that's on the Luminary card. But yeah, for people who don't know about campaign Skyjacks, one of the player characters, Travis Madigo, is a changeling. And I don't want to spoil anything for the podcast in particular, but it's super good if you like things like Critical Role, Dimension 20, The Adventure Zone, all of those RPG, Dungeons & Dragons shows and podcasts. You would really like campaign Skyjacks, I think. But one of the player characters, played by Johnny O'Mara, is a changeling, but he turns into different animals based on the season, so the different quadrants in the illustration are the different animals that he turns into in whatever season it is. So he turns into a raven during the fall, and a coyote during the summer, a bunny during the winter, or a hare, I think, during the winter, and then a snake during springtime. Yeah, so that is the basic idea. Again, I drew this a really long time ago, so for the technical aspect of it, I just tried to make the colors as basic as possible, and since there's so much stuff going on, at first I do a grayscale, which it'll get into in a minute, and then I do the flat colors, and as you saw before, I did sort of a lighting thing to try and figure out where the lighting was coming from and how that was going to work with all of the stuff that's happening. And as you can see, I go into too much detail in the line art. It does not need to be that detailed, but I do it anyway. And I also have a bad habit of doing line art like 20 times until it's perfect. Like, I go over it again and again. Well, I do like 2 or 3 sketches, I guess, that are more and more detailed, and then I do a final line art. I think that's probably why a lot of my drawings take so long. But yeah, this is the drawing. I'll put on some music, and I hope you enjoy and listen to Campaign Skyjacks, listen to the Hazards of Love album by the Decemberists, play Illimat, the board game that is based off of the Decemberists music, which then Campaign Skyjacks is based off of both of those. Play and watch and listen to all of it, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye bye.